How about not jumping both feet? I think it was said earlier, and I think it would be heartfelt for anyone to disagree. We have been proactive when it comes to our first responses and responders, and not just with the federal money coming in. We've tried to make sure they've had equipment, do things that we need to. We've had a supplement to the salaries for years. For my part, in looking at it, and I know we don't know for sure what the governor is going to do, but it's a pretty good indication he's going to put into the budget increases, and especially for first-year officers. I think from what I saw was going to be and if I say something wrong, you please correct me. You've probably looked at it already.
Look over here.
More than I have. But it doesn't have a barb on it. Looking through our financial situation, I've wanted for years to add at the local level, and we really haven't been in a place to do it. But I think we are at this time, and given what we don't know what the governor is going to do, I'm looking at the center column that would start January 1, which is the $22,988.10. Now, we have to keep in mind as we go into our budget for next year, that number doubles.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, start for the first 6 months.
If we're going to do this, let's go ahead and do the $22,988.
Yeah.
I know it'll have to come out of contingency, but at least I think that'll show our willingness to continue to try and work with some of the stuff coming down that the state police is laying out there. They're laying out some pretty packages.
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, that will help keep our officers here. Because I think we have one of the best group of officers in dispatchers we've ever had. And I'll share that and let somebody else.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm supportive of that, of your ideas there, but I really am looking at the three of y'all because y'all are the ones that are gonna have to budget it in the upcoming budget years.
Yeah.
So the last thing I wanna do is put on your shoulders $45,000 and then walk away and say, I did such a good thing, y'all pay for it.
Hey, the governor's gonna do it to the General Assembly, so just pass it on.
But, I mean, I wanna hear what y'all, the three of y'all especially, have to say on that, because I'm very supportive of it if you're willing to push the numbers in the budget, upcoming budget.
I'm always hesitant to even discuss this, but given my current situation, I feel a little more liberty now.
Yeah.
And in addition, just to be completely clear, it's my understanding through council that I'm, again, able to accurately and fairly just not only discuss but vote on this matter. But I feel like my thought is knowing what's coming, knowing what's advertised, any investment, and that's what it is, an investment is not going to be a problem. It's just going to help ahead of time a little bit for what may come down. You know, if they pass down and say, hey, you need to do this, and we're halfway or already there, then we're that much ahead. I agree with Mr. Yoder concerned about the budget. It is a little bit burdensome to think about what we may do here today, or what we will do here today, I believe, and wonder how you guys may deal with that. Yeah, so I do have that in mind, but knowing what's been laid out there, and with Mr. Booth's comment about the entry-level positions and trying to keep people knowing what's potentially going to happen, if my memory's right, I believe some of this may take place in July 1, obviously, but being active on the next academy class in October with the state police if it gets passed. But with that in mind, I would really maybe prod the discussion to the upper tier of the column if that's a concern in the vision, but then you're in projections on the budget end, but that's a reality from what I hear off, from everybody off the record, is that's expected to pass, to where that abbreviated academy will be a tremendous jump, for certified law enforcement officers. But, we hear it, and it's hard to make decisions off of what's expected or alleged to pass, or what the promise may be. It's hard to know, but.
And that's for the state police.
Right.
Yeah.
The sheriff would be the best one to speak to this. But, this board has experienced some loss to that previously when that happened.
Yeah.
And other localities experience loss, and then they start recruiting to fill their loss. It's just a trickle effect. It's what I meant by there's got to be some equity involved in this, and I hope the legislature takes note of that. But.
Well, I saw where a locality not too far from here is proposing their starting salaries at over $44,000 starting July 1. And I don't know that we can compete with that.
If I understand your position, what you said in the past, Mr. Booth, is that what you were hoping to do was to have a starting point today, or a starting point January 1st, and then during the budget negotiations, maybe add to that?
Right.
Yes.
Is that what you were
where
thinking?
I was thinking.
I thought that's where what your
Yes.
position was. I just want to clarify.
And by that time, we'll know more what Governor Northam's proposing, and then the incoming Governor-elect Youngkin is for a position he is based on that. I don't see Governor-elect Youngkin reducing too much on what the law enforcement is getting, but then again, he may be in one of those positions where he may have to reduce what's been proposed. I don't know till we see for sure what Governor Northam puts out, and then what his position he takes on it. And then you've got to get both sides of the General Assembly on it.
And one of the things that, I've said this before, but this board will have to discuss salaries across the board.
Across the
Because
board.
with minimum wage going to $11 in
We have to.
January,
Yeah.
we're gonna have people that were making quite a bit more than minimum wage percentage-wise, that are now gonna be right on the threshold, so
Right.
it's gonna have to, in the budget cycle, it's gonna have to be, wages in general, gonna have to be a major part of the discussion.
Right, and then when that final bill drops to the 15, if it continues, so in a part of this, I hope that we're able in the budget not just go to that next level and stop, that maybe we can go, depending on when we get our numbers, we may be able to position ourselves where we're a little better than just the minimum we have to do.
Sure.
That way then down the road, when that other one hits, it's not such a, in other words, spread it out over time.
It just gives us a starting point. I don't want to get political, but the governor had 4 years to do something, and he went into the very last minute,
Yeah.
and anybody with blind eyes can see why he done it. And, I know that, I know in talking to Brian on the side, it put a bomb in our, in his figures and everything, because it's up in the air, nobody knows what's going to happen, and so it gives us a starting point, and I know Mr. Yoder's agreed with me on this. Ever since we've been on the board every year, we thought, it's going to be hard to get the budget this time. This year, it is really factual that we're going to have a struggle to get the budget passed this time.
Absolutely, you're gonna have to sharpen that pencil.
It's sharp. We ain't gonna have a pencil by the time we get done.
It's gonna be another.
Just imagine how many
I
erasers.
used to have
Yeah, I
a
know.
school where you had to.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna hurt every department head. And that's one good thing, we do have good department heads that work with us. But, I'm like Jerry, I think we need to start off middle, build to it, and just show them that we do do have our best interest in mind, you know.
And the citizens,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
having trained officers is very important.
And dispatchers.
And dispatchers, yes.
For years, I watched this uniform officer, training officer, and then somebody else snatch them up because they're getting $15,000-$20,000 more a year than what they're making here.
Yeah.
You know,
And you can't blame the officers
No,
at all.
no. It's gonna be a difficult situation, but, go ahead.
yeah, I believe that, you know, your thought process, Jerry, about starting out with the 11,494, is that what you, did I understand that
No,
correctly?
22,980,
The
the
22,980, the
center
center column,
Center
okay.
column.
Yeah, I mean, I think that positions us a little bit, like you said, it kind of hedges, allows us to have that in there. It's well-deserved, law enforcement and first responders, dispatchers. We just can't keep doing what we've been doing, training and I know we've got a really good crop that want to stay here in Floyd. So, yeah, I'm in favor of that.
You know, I've talked to a lot of the officers, and they're here because they love the county.
Correct.
They love being here. They don't want to go anywhere else, but it may come to the point where that they don't have a choice, you know. And so anything we can do to help them, you know, I try not to be prejudiced on this, but it's hard not to be. And I think we need to do everything we can to help them out.
How do you need to word it?
Say again, please.
How do you need the motion worded if there's a motion?
With regards to the starting of the fund in January of 2022 for 6 months with reevaluation at that time.
In the amount of $22,988.
That is correct. Yep.
If you're ready, I'll make that motion.
You ready?
So move.
I'll second.
Motion to second, any other discussion? Call the roll.
Okay, on 9B, Floyd County Sheriff's Office request for a pay raise beginning January 2022 with funds for 6 months in the amount of $22,988.10. Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Yoder,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Okay, so approved.
And can I do, I didn't say I respect what you were saying, I understood what you were saying, but I just thought, for right now, I know we can handle
Sure, yeah, understood.
this amount.
Yeah, it's a good starting point.
Absolutely.
It gives the message of the heart of the board, and, you know, it's not in waste by no means, and you can definitely build on it, so.
Well, I just wanted you to know I wasn't ignoring your
Yeah,
comments,
sure.
I understood what you said.
I appreciate that.
All righty, our redistricting vote of approval. You good?
Mr. Chairman, we're, as you pointed out, the next item on the agenda is the vote to approve the county's redistricting ordinance. You held a public hearing on this last Tuesday. The ordinance provides, there's sort of a catch-22 in the Code of Virginia right now, because on the one hand, your redistricting ordinance is supposed to be adopted in a year ending in 1, and it's supposed to take effect immediately. However, Virginia has recently adopted the equivalent of the Voting Rights Act, the Federal Voting Rights Act at a state level, and your submission for pre-clearance is pending, or certification from the Attorney General's Office of no objection. Tantamount to pre-clearance, I think, when we used to submit to the Department of Justice back in the Federal Voting Rights Act regime. That provides that you're not to enforce the take any action to enforce the redistricting ordinance for 30 days. So while we're asking for you to adopt it now in 2021, the ordinance also applies that it will not, the county and staff will not take any steps to enforce it until after 30 days from this vote have passed. And what that will do is allow the timeline for the Attorney General's office to raise an objection to pass. So by the time you're looking to actually start administering the redistricting, you'll either have feedback from the AG's office and you'll be able to address that with an amended ordinance or what have you, or you'll be outside of the time frame for any objection and you'll be able to move forward either way. I don't expect any objection from the Attorney General's office. This does not affect minority voting in any appreciable way. So I think you're fine. You've got a good ordinance here that does what it needs to for the county.
I just, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer it or not, but, so you're saying we take this vote today, 30 days from now, then that starts the new district lines, per se, in essence.
The ordinance is effective immediately upon
Right.
adoption, but it will not be administered.
Until 30 days from now.
Yes.
So if a special election's ordered for any reason after that 30 days, it will be based on the new lines, not the old lines.
Absolutely correct.
Right. But if something happened, somebody ordered one, or a quick one, who knows what will happen, but then within the 30-day period, it would remain the way it is right now. Outside of that 30-day, it would be all the new lines.
What you stated is completely accurate. As a practical matter, there's no way a special election could be ordered.
Well, I know, but I just wanted it to be clear. I understand what you're saying. I just wanted to clear for the public that after this 30 days, everything's by the new lines.
Correct.
That's correct.
And that would be January 13th, I was saying.
Right. And the only, I think it's the 14th, but
14th?
the only caveat, I guess, to all of this is if the state redistricting is adopted in a way, and we have preliminary proposals, but nothing's been finalized by the Supreme
Right.
Court. So there is a chance that it could affect our district boundaries in some way, and we'd have to reconsider, but
If, for example, the House district split, went down Route 8, and the South district was in one House district, and the North of Route 8 was in another House district, then we'd have to redraw our lines,
Possibly.
potentially.
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 Because
But they're not gonna do that.
First of all,
Parish.
unfortunately, Floyd's down to, I think, 17% of the House district now, so it's hard to imagine that they would.
Split us.
Yeah, split us.
the stranger finds it out.
Oh,
You're right, that is a
I
possibility.
mean, that's,
UPS in the server.
Who knows? Who knows?
So, is there any,
So,
okay?
with the understanding that we might have to make some changes, but I don't think so. It would be my recommendation to adopt the ordinance as advertised and as went out for public hearing.
And include the adoption of the map as well, or
It's already provides that.
in the ordinance.
The ordinance already provides that, yes. So there's a simple motion to adopt the ordinance would accomplish all I need from you today.
Floor's open.
I'd like to make the motion to adopt our new redistricting ordinance for Floyd County.
Yes.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? Call roll.
Okay, for 9B with regards to redistricting, adopting the ordinance as advised, Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Yoder,
yes,
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman.
Yes.
Okay, it has been approved.
I just want to put into the record that I appreciate how seamlessly all five of us worked to make this one of the most equitable redistrictings. I just really appreciate all four of you for doing that. Thank you.
Yes. And I don't know if they can be said in the past, but I think we can definitely say in this one, politics did not enter into it at any level.
No,
Yep, that's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very proud of all of us.
We just missed our opportunity to get 7 board members. So we could have
The table ain't big enough.
Yeah.
Put the new ones in
We
there.
have to build a new building.
Put like a school desk back there.
Did you hear what she said?
Yeah, we have to build a new building.
Boy, we better
I
get all
did not bring
this.
it up. But if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
can't catch it again. What-
She said we'd have to build a
A
new
new
building.
building.
And it wasn't me that brought it up.
20 years from now.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
93 years old, y'all can do whatever you want to.
I'll be you keep paying your taxes.
All right, we'll move on down to Ford County School Board's request for $13,567.95 to be appropriated from the Capital Improvement Fund to the FY22 school budget. $5,500 appropriated to transportation to be used for 77 passenger bus plus $8,067.95 appropriated to technology category.
So moved.
Second.
Did I read that
They
one?
didn't have one of those doors yet?
And the older one.
Oh, okay.
I got two there for some reason. No, I was reading off the agenda. All right. Got a motion and a second.
Okay, for the Floyd County School Board request for $13,567.95 from capital improvement funds, $5,500 appropriated to the transportation category for 77 passenger school bus, and $8,067.95 for technology for an electric door for the Indian Valley Elementary School. Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
Yes,
Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Okay, so approved.
Okay, the next one is Ford County School Board's request of approval of revenue and expenditure supplemental appropriation for $140,927.05, with revenue source being federal ESSCR 2 funds used for the new HVAC controls and vector valves at Chet Willis Indian Valley.
So moved on expenditure and revenue.
Second.
Motion is second.
Okay, for the Floyd County School Board request for fiscal year '22 in the amount of $140,927.05, with the revenue source being the federal ESSER 2 funds for new HVAC controls and convector valves for Chet Willis Indian Valley Schools. Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook?
yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
And Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Okay, so approved.
All right, we move down to the Ford County Emergency Management Department request of approval of naming shared drive consisting of 3 or more dwellings along tax map number 065-69B, 6569E, and 6658, all shared property owners completed, form an agreement, and, agreements. And to name the road Poorhouse Road Southwest. That should be on my street.
I've got a question on that. Are we naming private drives roads now? Or have we done that in the past? I always thought we named them lane or drive, so maybe that's just been in
That's what I
practice.
thought.
It should be a lane,
Or a drive.
not a road.
I mean, I thought that was our practice, but I might be wrong about that. I thought road was only,
Not right.
It should not be road, it should be something.
Drive, lane,
Lane, drive.
anything other than road.
Way,
Or street.
If it's a private road, private, yeah, that's what I thought, but
Easy for
Do we need, well,
I just know from the emergency
yeah.
side, if I hear road, I never think private drive.
Right.
right,
That
going out looking
That
for
goes back years ago, I wanted to use different colored sign for the private.
Yeah,
Courthouse Drive southwest, Courthouse Lane southwest.
Yes, that'll need to be amended before we can take it up
Uh,
by the applicant.
That would be my suggestion, but I mean, I don't want to throw a wrench in it, but on the other hand, I don't really like the idea of
Yeah, that needs,
putting a road on a private drive.
and I don't feel like doing it without having the owners
Oh, yeah.
be
they need to choose whatever.
lane, drive, way,
Road,
whatever.
So we'll kick that one back to them and let them contact the owners.
Yep.
And get do it again next time.
65, 69B,
Y'all do.
69E.
Special meeting is this.
Yeah. Alright, so this is going round again.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, if we do a Christmas, we can get the road on. And there's a-
So I'm not sure if this, goes with the next one, because that's for something similar, a little different circumstances, which may come involved as well, but that one's Blue Deer Run.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, but it doesn't have anything after it.
Yeah,
But run is an acceptable.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I think so, isn't it? I'm sure that's, we've used run in the past.
I think so.
Okay.
I may be wrong about that.
Well, we can always set a precedent. Look at, that made him look up.
You never want to be a tester.
That's the case. So which district is this in?
That's you, isn't it?
No, this is probably,
Huckleberry,
Oh, that's you.
no,
No?
talking to me.
Which one
Jerry,
is it?
Jerry,
that yours?
it's awful long branch, gotta figure out which side of the wall we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, between
This
the
side.
two of you.
That's in the middle.
And we would go by the old map.
16.
It's just our policy, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, what I'm just saying. We have to go by the old map.
It's that little dirt road. That's in the hall.
Yeah, it does go back up in the hollow.
Yeah.
It's very pretty up top. I don't know.
Goes up on the road.
Oh, that's the one that goes up to, up into where the old Gentry Harder place will be.
Correct. And it goes all the way up to the top of the back of Wheels Ridge.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah, so it is.
It's in your district, if you want to move on.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, I'll make a motion then that we'll approve, this right one here.
Blue Deer Road.
Blue Deer Run. I do love to know how they came up with that.
Blue Deer.
Like a country song.
That's because I haven't been hit a few times.
Oh, gosh.
All right, make a motion that we approve naming, this, 65, 69E, 66, 5A, and 65, 69B is Poorhouse Road.
No.
I done
No.
jumped upstairs,
Number D.
yeah, I done jumped upstairs. Blue Deer Run.
I'll second.
And that's tax maps 40-140,
Yeah.
141,
One,
et cetera.
and
40, 141, 40, 148, and 141A, and 76.
yeah,
And 40-140.
Okay, Floyd County Emergency Management request for approving the name Blue Deer Run for tax map 4140, 141, 141A, and 41-76F. Mr. Terman,
Yes.
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes,
and Mr. Yoder.
Yes.
Okay, approved.
it is really pretty up there.
Next one is Floyd County
It's very
Emergency.
hunting land. You-
Moonshine one.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Floyd County Emergency Management Department request approval of naming road, name request of Growth Center Drive. The request was approved by Board of Supervisors on December the 8th, 2020, meeting allowing EDA to name the road. EDA has submitted a request to move forward. The floor is open for a motion.
Since it's still in my district, I guess.
For 30 days.
Is this going to be a public road then?
It will not be a public meeting.
Oh, it's dry. huh?
Yeah, it's dry.
Well, I think, I know.
I'll
I'm looking at
make,
the wrong one. You're back.
I'll make the motion that, we name the, request Growth Center Drive. That was, presented to this board by the EDA.
I'll say, oh,
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll second.
Okay, on the request for Growth Center Drive, originally by the EDA and approved in a meeting on the December 8th, 2020. Ms. Cookenbook,
Yes,
Mr. Booth,
yeah.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Yoder,
Yes.
and Mr. Turner.
Yes.
Okay, approved.
And then on F, naming of, road to drive on tax map number 056-148A, 056-148H, and 056-148J. And this is to be named Victory Lane.
Looks like there's,
a little dissension.
Ascension and Rikes.
Where's this one at?
off Street and Creek.
Oh,
Runs out there.
Out there in Haycock?
Yeah.
It's in,
This is one of them that's in your and gonna be in mine.
yeah,
so you
We
can
can
abstain.
table this
but
one.
don't make it.
I'm not gonna abstain. I haven't run into one of these while we've been a group.
Yeah.
Previously, if there was, there had to be an agreement.
yeah,
And I'm not gonna jump in the middle of a neighborhood fight over that myself. Y'all want to, you can, but
so it looks like so one said Providence Lane, one said
Two said
Victory,
Providence Lane.
two said Providence
No,
Lane.
wait.
no.
No,
One's got Victory Lane or road,
Gotcha.
then one's got Providence Lane, then the other one's got Victoria or Victoria Road, which we're not doing roads. So basically, you got,
And 2 out of the 3 property, if I may, have completed the forms. So you don't even have 3 of the property owners who completed all necessary forms.
There's a blank form. So I thought when we took these matters up, one thing we looked at was the agreement. And not all parties have,
Well, they have to be named.
yeah.
It has to be named, so
yeah, but I think,
I'm not gonna be here to make that decision, but if it was me, what I would say is, y'all come to an agreement, or we'll name it something totally different.
yeah,
right,
Y'all have a couple months to work on it.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I mean, they've been trying to get this done since August.
We'll name it Coleman Drive, and I'm Coleman.
I can
Oh, that
see-
Yoder.
Yeah, that's closest to your district. We'll name it
I'm just picking.
Yoder Lane, Yoder Lane.
Yoder Run.
Yoder Run.
Right,
Yoder
How about
Run.
Yoder Coleman Run?
Oh, gosh. Now that, if you threaten them with that, they may come up with a, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, originally, when we started all this process, there was several that I had to name because nobody we gave them every ample opportunity.
And then there was plenty that fussed after the fact that didn't turn out.
Yeah. But
So we're not, I mean, it.
I kick that back to them, tell them they got a month to come up with it or we'll name it.
I named our road, and a week later, after it was approved, I got a cussing for doing it.
Well,
And I said, y'all had ample opportunity, think now, forever, hold your peace, So we'll pass that one over. We'll punt that one back, so. Alrighty, discussion on the process of timing for appointment of interim supervisor of the Upper Security District. Mr. Durbin, I'm gonna turn it over to you on that one.
Well, if you have to answer any questions, once the resignation of Supervisor Yoder becomes effective, I will be submitting a writ request to the circuit court to order a special election to be held at the general election in November.
I was gonna ask you that very question.
okay.
I'm one step ahead of it.
In the meantime, this board does have the ability to make an interim appointment for a supervisor to serve until the special election can be held. And if there are any questions on your steps, your process, it's not required to solicit expressions of interest. You could just make an appointment, as the court would say, sua sponte, of its own motion. But you've already decided to take the alternative process of accepting expressions of interest, and I believe you're having some informal interviews to be held this week. That is, I think that's scheduled for Thursday. And after you've gone through that process, at any time you could convene either at your next regular meeting, special meeting, however you choose to do it, to vote to make that appointment.
Or we could make the appointment Thursday night after the interviews.
That's what was my question.
Yes.
Yeah, we could make it Thursday night after the interviews if we chose to.
We would have to come out of closed session and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
I'd rather say Thursday evening, not night.
I know you would. Either way, evening or night, it sounds like it's a meal in there somewhere.
Yeah, we'll dawn on one now.
Yeah. And they can still, we're still receiving them until 12 o'clock today, is that correct?
Yeah, they got 23 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like block.
Not if you're going home.
We had discussed, I think it was us three, Dr. Millsap and Kim and myself, a time limit for the interview. And, we found out that 15-minute while back didn't work quite right. And so we was thinking about half hour, and we wanted to get with you afterwards in closed session for you to help us, to come up with a list of questions. That's why we won't be all over the board asking questions that ain't none of our business, and.
Yeah,
I'll be able to send you some
Okay.
proposed uniform questions you can ask.
Just to make sure we don't stray into.
I'd just like to comment on that. I think it's important for us to convene and talk to people, but I just want to make, from my perspective, I feel leery of too many questions. This is a voted position, and I'm not comfortable just asking too many questions that voters need to be making come November. So from my position, I think the questions should be limited and just a little bit about each candidate. And, I think we've got a good vision of what the Lakers Grove District has looked for and liked in the candidate. Obviously, Mr. Yoder's continued to sit here. So with that in mind, Mr. Chairman, I would just like our questions to be very general, very brief. I don't think they need to be many or very intrusive. And more or less just to hear about each candidate, and they can tell a little bit about themselves, and maybe a brief vision of Floyd County, and that should be about all. I don't want to take the place of an election. I'm not qualified to do that. I know that's not what's suggested, I just
Right.
want to
I
make
think-
that clear.
I think Steve probably has a good read on who we are as a board.
No, we went to jail.
Yeah.
I understood
Yep.
my assignment to be to create some general background questions that you can ask uniformly so that you're treating everyone the same.
Correct.
I think you just wanted a,
Well.
And I think Mr. Coleman pointed out that I would suggest is that, I think it's really important that you also somehow flesh out to a small degree, and not deeply, but, maybe to a small degree on, what drives that person to be interested. So, you know, and their level of knowledge about Floyd County. That's one thing that I feel like one of the reasons I originally got elected was because I was passionate about, serving in this office, and that I had the time, the commitment, the energy, the desire to kind of get into the business of government rather than just showing up at a meeting. So, and it's really one of the reasons that I'm leaving, one of the main reasons I'm leaving, because I don't feel like I can serve in the capacity that the voters really deserve. And so I would hate to have someone appointed that then would view it as a 2-day-a-month job and nothing else, you know. And so somehow to flush that out a little bit maybe would be good. And it's a full-time job in a lot of ways.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's kind of why I'm leaving. And I was talking to my wife last night, and I said, you know, hopefully they can find someone that's willing to put the work in that the district deserves. And I think that's really important.
And
Good.
I agree with you on that, and I have a suggestion that you may not like, but it's a hook. Would you be willing to be here and be the person asking the questions, if you're available?
We done had that discussion.
I'm scheduled
Oh, okay, I
for,
didn't know, I'm
It's,
sorry.
I'm scheduled for court hearings
yeah.
on Thursday.
Okay,
Continue.
yeah.
We'll grant it for you.
I'm sure the judge would allow you to have a cell phone in there where you can ask questions and testify. No, I'll be able to pass that on to Jerry and others that, we had discussed that, and he wasn't able to do it for us, and
I just thought that would give you an opportunity too, to meet each candidate as well, because you're gonna,
I
and
appreciate
them to
that.
meet you as two, so.
I do appreciate that.
Which court? Floyd?
No,
Can I go to court with the,
Palmer.
conduct an interview in the courtroom?
You can always ask for a short recess.
that's the reason that we had that discussion, because I wanted him
Yeah.
to be the one asking the questions, and
there's a possibility that I could conclude the matters in time to be here by 3 o'clock,
Right.
but I can't guarantee that.
That depends on the other attorney, and how easy going they are to get along with, right?
As these things often do.
so we'll put it like this: if you show up, you got the job.
There you go.
Yeah,
Fair enough, I will,
then we will.
I'll do my level
have
best.
something.
Yeah.
Happy to be here, it's just a scheduling thing.
Yeah, we worked you pretty hard here, haven't we?
Always glad to help. So with that, I don't know if there's anything else that you all need to address. I think you've got your plan in place. The only thing, and I think that, Mr. Chairman, you're already aware of this, but I think that at the end of today, you not want to adjourn the meeting, but rather recess the
Recess,
meeting
yeah.
till you reconvene on Thursday.
I got notes. But I still probably was saying.
Well,
Recess instead of adjourn.
Yeah.
until Thursday at 3.
I got it wrote on my, thing here, but that ain't gonna necessarily mean I don't read it, so. So I guess with that, we can go into closed session then. And we will be going into closed session under 2.2, 3711, A1, A3, and A5. And if you want to give us the update on what it is we're going in for.
Sure, the A1, I believe, was part of the evaluation. A1 was also for, the discussion of the Floyd County Uniform Statewide Building Code Local Board of Appeals. We have, the legacy, discussing the legacy lease. And, the project, with regards to the EDA, the VDAX project.
Is that A3
That is a
or A5?
A5. That was A5.
Yes,
Okay.
potential expansion or
Yes.
location of this.
The legacy is A3.
Okay,
Apologies.
gotcha.
I move we go in closed session under those sections.
All set.